Have you gone mad? You're going to hit me with that?
Oh my god! Oh my god, what have I done? Oh my god, I didn't mean to.
Afternoon.
Those carts are for handicapped customers.
Yes. I know. I have rheumatoid arthritis, so I can't walk very far.
Oh, well, you look very healthy.
All right, listen. I'm taller than you, obviously, so I can lift you up, and you can use that branch right there to boost yourself out. You up, us out. Does that make more sense? Yeah? And then you can throw something down for me to climb out. God, I hope you understood that last part. All right, come on.
Okay, hello everybody. My name is Fernando and Mico. I put this little party together, and we're here all to talk about really cool films and stuff. We are very fortunate enough to have a few of the filmmakers here, or people somehow involved in the films we saw into tonight's block, the final block for Nova Night. Again, all of the films that we're screened this evening were somehow connected to the Northern Virginia area, DMV region, in the sense if they were an actor, even a DP, not that DPs are lesser, or the screenwriter, just some way somehow connected to the area. So that makes us super extra special. And just as a side note, as in a weird irony, I mentioned this at an earlier panel, where this tends to be the biggest evening of the night, Monday night, where it gets kind of scant. Where we used to have screenings over the weekend, Saturday was almost, I won't say non-existent, but it was just a spattering. Friday we'd have a better crowd. Thursday would be a little bit thicker, but by far Monday would dominate the festival or week. Makes little sense as far as, again, local filmmakers, so we would have people bringing their friends and family who are indigenous to the area, so we'd easily have a packed house every Monday evening. So with that, again, but we are still a bit of an intimate crowd. What I will do is call you out. We're back in elementary school. I will call you out individually to please introduce yourself and your film. If I have forgotten you in terms of you, like Koura and Spacey this evening, I don't believe you had a dog in the fight tonight. Like you need more screen time.
Our film was written in Nova, though. It was written in Falls Church. I
know,
I didn't know that was a thing. I didn't know it was a thing.
Could have been a thing. So if I forget you, please raise your hand or let me know, wave, and I'll bring you to the stage. But I think again, there's not that many of us here. I have a good idea. So I will just call you out individually. Again, if you could just introduce yourself and your project. I will start with Rikki. Can you please present yourself?
Sure. So I am Rikki Stinnette. I am based out in Loudoun County, and I wrote and directed Revenge of the Electric Cart.
Yay. Sangeeta? Unmute yourselves, please.
Yeah, sorry. I have, let's see, in tonight's screening, I was acting in The Dig, where she goes digging for her memories. And, and then I also have a screenplay, which is an official selection this year. So super excited to be here.
Yeah, sorry, I didn't mean to give that. You just said, I'm in the movie Dig, where I dig.
That's right.
It just came out for you. Apologies. Miss Judy Wong. Can you please introduce yourself?
I'm Judy Wong. I played Doris in Elizabeth Ricky's film, The Revenge of the Electric Cart, and I was head hair and makeup in Bird's Eye, the film Bird's Eye.
Fantastic. You know what? We're small enough here. This is pretty intimate. We'll just go around the entire horn here and let everybody know who we are. So, surprise, surprise, Owen, you're up next.
Everybody, I am Owen. I'm also a local filmmaker from Leesburg, Virginia, writer and producer, and worked with Rikki on Revenge of the Electric Cart as a associate producer, helping with this, that, and the other things. So whatever we needed to do, I was happy to help. And I'm also a co-founder of the Loudoun Arts Film Festival, lots of different projects in the pipeline, and always looking to support film and music and art in the area. So just pleasure to be here, and good seeing everybody.
Fantastic. Is that how you're listed, by the way, on IMDb?
For
this, that,
yeah,
and the other,
actually,
this, that, and the other thing.
Okay. This, that, and the other things. I think things is plural, though. I could be wrong. Need to update it. Cool. Thank you, guys.
Great. Shri, please say howdy. Oops, Shri, can you hear me? Maybe not. Maybe so. Okay, we'll move to the troublemaker real quick.
On the side chat, it says that his mic is muted by the host.
It's muted by me?
I think so. That's what it's...
Oh, look, I guess you are correct. But now it's not.
Oh.
No, wait. Yes, it is. Hold it is. Try turning on your microphone now, Shri. You asked speaker to turn on their microphone. That is strange. Koura, do you know what's going on with that? I see the unmute at the bottom for him, but it's not. I'm clicking it, and it's just telling me to ask the speaker to turn their microphone.
Did you ask, did you click unmute speaker on your end?
Is it just going over his square and clicking unmute?
Yeah.
Because it's not doing it.
Sorry, what happens when you just try and turn it off and turn it back on again?
The complicated method.
I know. I mean, I can read lips. I can make him really big. Let's see. Can try that.
No, that we don't have to go there. I don't want you to have to look at his face that large. That's not nice.
I don't mind.
Yes, you will. You will. So yeah, as I was saying, we'll try to figure that out. Shri, I'm sorry about that. We'll jump to the troublemaker, Sherry. If you want to introduce yourself real quick, please.
Sure, I'm Sherry Raddick Stroud. My film was in the earlier bunch between 5 and 7, Hero's Honeymoon. I'm a local filmmaker like everyone else. My company is Wonder Pictures, and I'm excited to meet some new people. So hello, everybody.
I love how everybody just waved and didn't say anything to hear the echo or feedback. Brilliant. Wow, you guys are good soldiers. And in my bottom left corner, we have, it says Koura Linda, and I think that guy is Spencer Shipton. Can you guys please introduce yourselves?
I'm Spencer Shipton.
And I'm Koura Linda. No.
We are.
That's not true.
We are a husband and wife, obviously, filmmaking team. We had a film that screened last night called Names on the Wall. And it was actually, I didn't know local was a thing, but it was written in Falls Church, Virginia, and developed in Falls Church, Virginia, and then filmed in LA. And I am a writer, director, producer, production designer, choreographer. And you are?
I'm happy to be here.
Yeah.
And my husband's a musician, singer, songwriter, editor, post-production supervisor, effects master, and also director and general amazing human being.
Okay.
Could have just said trophy
Trophy
bride or
husband.
groom.
Yes.
Trophy husband.
He's got that.
We
too,
Yeah, I've got that.
Again, we can everybody throw your PC guard out the door. I don't think that was really breaking any protocol, but I just reminded we do have a film. I forget exactly which day it's screening. It is called Trophies, and it touches on the trophy husband thing. Actually, kind of funny, obviously. So okay, let's see.
Saying in the chat, sorry, that
yes,
he was part of the Dig. I believe he was one of the story developers, but I could be wrong.
Is that correct?
I see him typing. Voiceover.
Voiceover.
Was he the husband?
The husband.
He was the husband.
Sangeeta, he played your husband? Wow, what a stretch. That's an inside joke. They played husband and wife. I don't know how many, on how many.
Arrest your voice.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay, yeah. So he was the voice of the husband, and he's killed me over and over in several films now.
Oh, really?
or tried to.
This wasn't the first murder?
This was not the first, yeah.
I'm not going to say Koura made the joke, but we didn't know that. I didn't know that you were in the tree, that you were in the dig. And I asked, because I didn't visually see you, I asked if you were the shovel. Or I'm sorry, no, Koura asked if you were in the shovel. Dang it! I think I got caught. I can't hear you.
You asked that. You asked if he was.
Is that the way it works? Okay.
That. I said he was in the dig, and you said, was he the shovel? It's recorded in the table conversation. Go look. You type.
Be right back. We'll just go ahead and use that as a segue. Sorry, you all. A lot of us do know each other. If we're going a little too inside talky, please just roll with it. We all love each other here. So we'll just use that as a segue. We'll talk about the dig first. Sangeeta, do you have any opening thoughts or comments about your film?
Well, I hope you guys liked it. I certainly enjoyed doing this role very much. It was the first time that I had no on-screen dialogue in any film. So it was, I was really worried to be on screen for that long and not say a single word. And I was seriously worried about performing. But the good thing was the director was very, very clear on his vision, how he wanted to present the story. And, you know, the film is a product of the Storytellers Film Club that we have here. It's a bunch of us that, you know, we're all amateurs. We're just learning as we go. Sridhar is part of that same group, and it's a very inclusive way that we sort of create. So right from the screenplay, you know, development process, we come together as a team, and Sridhar was in that team as well, to just sort of, you know, someone can present an idea, but then we all brainstorm. And so there were many aspects, like the idea of, you know, digging up memories was mine. Then someone else had thought that, okay, let's put a crime angle to it. That was someone else's contribution. And all these things sort of get fed into the story. And then that's how it sort of comes about. So it's a very collaborative storytelling process. So it's really an incredible filmmaking club here in DC, which if any of you want to be a part of, please, you know, just reach out to any of us, and you know, we would love to collaborate. And about,
do you have a website, or
we don't have a website. We have a Facebook page, which I manage. So yeah, you can just reach out to me directly, and I'll, you know, we have a mailing list, and you know, we can kind of get you involved. We're all amateurs, so no one gets paid anything. It's just, we all just do it for the sheer passion of it. Yeah, so this was our latest product, actually, and then COVID hit.
So when you say latest, when was this shot?
This was shot in February of 2019, so right before things got, you know, when things started getting locked down. So we shot it right before that.
February?
February, yes.
Things didn't get really serious yet at that point.
Not yet. It started it was serious by mid-March is when everything was hit panic. 2020, yeah, February 2020.
That's different.
Sridhar is right. No, he corrected me on that. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
In the chat.
Okay. Yeah, the hard metrics of it though, in terms of submissions, we didn't really get. There wasn't really a phasing out number. We still had about the same amount of submissions at
That's
Nova Fest as we've had in
incredible.
the past. A little bit lower, but just enough to measure. Not all of them were shot in 2020, but that's usually the case too. Not all the films that are submitted were done that year. We go back as far as 10 years, as far as qualifying. So you weren't affected at all by the pandemic in terms of shooting?
Not in terms of the shooting, and even the post-production, it was a very small team that does post. So it was no real problems there.
Okay. Well, in terms of post-production, there's the community. I know for myself, because I gravitate more towards post myself, that they show the two identical pictures, one of a film editor before the pandemic and then the film editor during the pandemic.
Yes.
Essentially the same photo. No, identical photos.
Yep.
You're already isolated from the world.
Correct.
So,
yeah.
Okay. I really wish I could pull you in, Shri. Are you sure you can't?
Let's try again. Do you want to log out and come back in, maybe?
Have you definitely unmuted your stuff, right? It says unmute. Okay.
Just log out and come back in. Just leave and come back. It might work.
And Sangeeta just plays his wife on Okay, hopefully he comes back.
I'm giving instructions as I
that's what I'm that's what I'm just saying. Okay. Any when you received the screenplay for it, did you get again, because there's no dialogue, was it almost like reading a novel or a book? And at one point were you hooked, going, okay, I'm in? I mean, when you saw the basically the reveal towards the end, were you already gravitated towards it, or you're like, okay,
Absolutely.
she's kind of boring or mundane?
No.
Perfect
It
setup.
was just like this role was just calling to me. In fact, as soon as he presented the idea, because you have to present an idea before you can, and it has to be approved by a committee, and then so it's very democratic process that we follow. And I threw my hat in the ring instantly, and I said, okay, I want this role, and I'd like to try for it. And it just seemed like an amazing opportunity to do something different.
Well, you rocked it.
Hey guys,
Shri,
I'm back. I think you can hear me.
It was you. You.
I had to come back, log in, Film Freeway, Film.
Yeah, you should listen. You should just listen to me.
When have I not listened to you?
Yes, listen to your own wife. She knows.
You have to always listen to the wife. Happy wife, happy life, whatever the heck.
Yeah.
Oh man, that's what is that when life imitates art, or is it the other way around?
Yes. I know where you're going with this.
Shri, now that we have you, any thoughts or comments you'd like to contribute from The Dig? You played the shovel.
Well, I think it was a wonderful film, and just the thought process that went into building out the story and brainstorming from the get-go. I think it was a wonderful project, and then all of the other people coming together. Somebody's putting sound, somebody's got the direction, somebody's got camera work. So like Sangeeta said, it's a amateur group. We're learning, and we're making better films from what was made a few years back. And then over the years, I think there's a lot of talent, and we're adding to that. So anybody is welcome to join in the Washington, D.C. area.
Okay, so again, that's how you found out about it, opposed to Sangeeta or you seeing it first and going, hey, I got a perfect person for this role.
Not this time. I think most of the time she does say, hey, I got the perfect person. But in this case, I think since I was involved from the beginning. I was actually supposed to be the driver.
Oh.
And the husband. I was
Okay.
supposed to have a double role, but then we found somebody else, and he did a great job. Of course, Rajiv, he's not here today, but yeah. So it was a lot of fun doing it. And this one, of course, it's voiceover, so I'm not seen, unlike what happened tonight.
Yeah. Well, well, tonight you couldn't be heard, right? So
Yeah.
okay, fantastic. Out of curiosity, this is my own personal questions for either of you. With the taxi cab, was was that why the person was hired? He was a taxi cab driver, or were you able to procure that from someone in your network? How did that work?
He was so good, right?
The director actually knows the person who owns the company
Gotcha.
that cab belongs to, but they wouldn't allow anyone else other than their own driver to drive this cab. So if you look closely, I can tell you this now, anytime the cab is moving, it's not the actor driving it. So we had to, all kinds of cheating was happening over there to, so only when the taxi was still, he was sitting in it, but anytime it's moving, it was the driver.
Okay, well that helps with releases
Yes.
in terms of just the things are the titles and company logos, etc. Okay, fantastic. Any questions specific? Well, you know what? I'll save the Q&A for the very end for everybody. Any closing comments on the dig? Otherwise, we'll move on to the electric company car.
Well done on your.
Sorry, I still have that in my head.
Well done on your
Street.
reactions, Sangeeta.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Okay. And great voice, Shri. I don't want you to feel left out. It was very commanding. You sounded like a murderer.
I've always been the bad guy, man.
Or domestic abuse.
I don't even have to act anymore.
Oh boy. Well, we got that recorded. So next we will move on to Rikki. Please introduce your film to everyone and maybe give us a quick summary of it. And please let fly whatever you'd like to say about it.
Yeah, sure. So Revenge of the Electric Cart is based on a true story, actually my story. My mom was diagnosed with rheumatoid arthritis when I was 6 years old, and she went from being able to chase me all around the playground to literally needing help to get out of bed every morning. So the story is just sort of recounting, in a sense, how I, as a child, grappled with having a parent have those issues, and how it really ended up making our relationship so much stronger, just because we're sort of like a united front against the world, and would make jokes. I actually would ride in the bottom of an electric cart in the grocery store sometimes. That really happened. And so then, making this is my directorial debut. And so, it was definitely some challenges in that, some challenges making it during a pandemic year. But, I honestly feel so incredibly blessed and honored by the team that, got pulled together. Because they helped make it possible. They really each of them brought amazing skills. Judy and Owen are here tonight, but there are so many other great people who really contributed and stepped up.
So that's fantastic. This is your directorial debut, wink, wink, Koura. So what was your prior experience to that? Because it doesn't look like a directorial debut.
Oh, well, thank you. So prior experience is I am a writer, and I've been writing since I was a teenager. I wrote a feature film that was basically a student feature called The Screenwriters. I think it was an artist circle selection for Nova Fest a couple years ago.
Fantastic.
Yeah, so but now I'm excited to actually be in the festival and here at this Q&A. But yeah.
Awesome. Well, as I really push all the time, if you get into NoFest, it is by pure merit, unless depending on how fat the envelope you send me is. But outside of that, if you get in, you get in because you got in. Nothing outside of that. That'll never be compromised. But yeah, I had to ask that question because some of the DP work was really quite good.
We had an incredible DP. His name is Ethan White. This was actually his first narrative. He's previously done lots of commercial work, lots of documentary work. But I just had watched his reel and I was already a friend with him, and I knew that he had the right tone for the piece. So yeah, he did a fantastic job. Like every time I watch it, I go, "Oh, good job, Ethan." Oh, can you hear me?
I can hear you now.
All right, great.
Were you able to hear my last little comment there?
I don't think I did.
Okay, I just said that please convey my accolades to his work. It was definitely top notch. A couple of shots definitely put it over the edge as far as made it a more complete in terms of production value. So awesome, and obviously the actors did a great job as well.
Thanks.
Speaking of actors in it, Miss Judy Wong, do you have any comments you'd like to make about shooting or being involved in the production?
Oh, it was an awesome production. It was just great. It was a shame that it was during COVID because it was not the norm at all. But Rikki,
you played Karen, right?
No, I played Doris. I played the.
That's a joke.
No, Karen. Haha. Karen is the cop that I played. Are you serious?
Well, you're calling out you're calling out the lady on the cart for not being handicapped. That's what I meant.
Yes. I was that's the matriarch role. She was being a nosy buddy. I didn't care for that role, but I did it well. Yeah, it was hard for me to play that role because I know how it feels. I've been in that place before where people would, be judgy. So I didn't really, it was kind of painful to play that role, to judge the lady in the electric cart. But it was great to be on set I call her Elizabeth. I've known Elizabeth for many, many, many years. So you guys calling her Rikki is like, to me right now. So do most people call you Rikki? Elizabeth?
I write and direct as Rikki. So, obviously with all film things, I'm Rikki. But, friends and family call me Elizabeth. I have that history of that. It's my middle name. So I will answer to both very gladly.
I know her as Elizabeth. So I've known her for 5+ years now. So you guys, I'm trying to do Rikki constantly right now, but I'm like, okay. But anyway, it's great to work with her. She's wonderful. She is a great writer. So she's just great, and she had a great crew and cast, so it was just a joy to be with everybody, and it was just great from the beginning to the end. But it was hard, being during COVID, everyone with masks, and it just wasn't the same. There was no wrap party. There was no, lunch was hard. It was just different, because it was COVID time, but she made it warm and sweet and fun. And, she made it the very best that she possibly could. So it was still all good. Yeah.
I know Judy on a very personal level, so it's just I can't help but think sophomore thoughts while you talk. Judy, you sound like an elementary school kid who goes, "What do you like about school?" I like lunch and I like recess, and in so much as those are the two biggest memories you have that were hard about shooting.
And music and art. And yes, you're right. Yeah. No, but it was great, and Dawson Market, the people there were really, really nice. Holding was great. We had a really nice area there too. So it was just very comfortable. The set was very comfortable. And so the whole day was great. Well, that morning was great. So it was all good. And then the film was great. So it was very personal. It was very personal to me. So it touched me very, very much because I feel like that a lot of people don't know when you do have an issue, and they don't know that you have a problem because in this world a lot of times you don't know when somebody's hurt, and people do judge you, and it's wrong. So this film has a message.
With the final movie that screened tonight, as we are dealing with autism, kind of just having watched it again in this block, it kind of is the same theme as far as you don't know just by looking necessarily what's going on there, in terms of they say it in the film, it's like an unseen injury kind of thing, or illness rather, not injury. One point before it gets before it passes too much, the scene that Judy was talking about, the grocery store scene, between that and the other ones, where did you shoot mostly, Rikki? Was it just absolutely in the area, or did you branch out?
It was all in the area. So actually, Dawson's Market in Rockville was the farthest afield that we went. We stayed in Loudoun County for the most part. Otherwise, we filmed the playground scene at Franklin Park Arts Center in Percival, Virginia. And then we filmed all of the home scenes in a home in Percival, Virginia. So it was all there. And the grocery store was definitely the trickiest location to get. This was the middle of 2020, summer 2020 during COVID. And I knew going into this that, having that scene in the grocery store would be really important, but I wasn't sure, if it would even be possible. But I just went ahead and asked as many stores as we could. And we had it down to about 2 stores, grocery stores that were, saying that they were really interested. And then they both backed out just like a week before filming. So we had to postpone filming for a few weeks, and I had to keep searching for all these different grocery stores. I tried, big chains, I tried, lots of local ones. And then I found Dawson's, and I walked in there, and the manager there, Bart, he was amazing to work with. He had previous experience with film crews, and he just, understood how it worked. He was very, accommodating to us about opening the store super early so we could go in and, film where the actors were without masks. Of course, all of the crew were, and, people who were, the actors in between takes were wearing masks, but he did the owner was really accommodating. And that was how we were able to film at a grocery store during a pandemic.
Well, it'd be pretty hard to pull off without that part of the movie. Obviously, just the namesake. Unless you have the electric cart going through the park, I guess, but that doesn't make a whole lot of sense. And the shots were beautiful. They were that final, not exclamation point or accent aigu, maybe, just they gave it that last bit of magic it needed to soar. So yeah, fantastic. And again, the DP work on that was fantastic. So I just want to emphasize that one more time. But again, with we'll segue that ish, not a hard segue, but into the story of it. Owen, do you want to share some thoughts about overall, really?
Yeah, no, it was really cool because when I had met Rikki, she was screening for my film festival, and she kind of like filled me in on the concept. And I'm a big advocate of mental health and illnesses that you can't see, because the problem is a lot of people have issues and we're just afraid of talking about them. And I feel if we gave a bit more oomph into supporting people and hearing their stories, our world would be better. So when I heard about it, I instantly said yes. You'll notice I say yes a lot, but I give it 100%. I'm always going to put my name on something that I'm proud of, and this was one of those moments. And we were able to find the pieces. I helped to get some of the cast and crew together. I did what I could when I had the free time to do so, and I'm very proud of it. I remember crying the first time I saw a cut of it because Rikki's vision was put together, and it was cohesive. It was, really powerful when the actors were able to bring it to life. And, I'm happy. It was cool. So I could talk forever, but I think it's probably time for someone else to have words.
You're pretty brief, actually.
Thank you.
You could have definitely kept going. You mentioned casting.
Yeah.
Over the years, not that it's about us in any way, but NoFest has been incredibly fortunate to have several films with great, especially female, but young actors who just like destroy their roles. How are you able to find the actress for this role, the young girl?
That's a Rikki question. My contributions to cast and crew was one of the producers, some of the money to support the project, and the mother. She was one of my good friends. I've worked with her in the past, and when I saw the photo, if it was from a timeline perspective, we had casted the daughter first, right?
That's correct.
Yeah. I had gone through my head, and I'm like, all right, who could be a believable mother? And when I started putting like one and one together, I just lit up, and I'm like, Rikki, what do you think of this headshot? And it just worked. I mean, it looks like it could be her mother and daughter walking to the store, and the synergy. And I'll defer to Rikki on the first time they talked. Rikki, what do you think about the first time they talked?
Yeah, no, I mean, the first time they talked was amazing. We did all virtual casting because this was, we were just getting started on pre-production in earnest in early March. And so all casting was online. So when I was able to get Ashley, who plays the little girl, and Amanda to meet virtually, I was just so impressed immediately. Amanda just seemed to click with Ashley. She, was asking her questions, getting Ashley to talk about, the stuff she's doing in school, some of her hobbies, and they just immediately connected as friends in a sense. And just all throughout production, they would chat with each other, they would hang out with each other. So that was really amazing to see them working together like that. But yeah, how we found Ashley, it was, I knew that I wanted to cast that role first because I knew that it was the trickiest to get right. But that performance would make or break the short film. So I, wrote out to all sorts of different local theater companies. I wrote out to all of my friends in theater saying, hey, who are some young actresses between, this age and this age who you would recommend? And I think one, if not two people had Ashley at the top of their list. So, we read a few people, but Ashley definitely stood out. She, came with like her own monologue that she had written. She just had this innocence and intelligence about her mixed that, you know, was exactly what I was looking for the role.
Wow, you struck gold then, huh?
Yes, yeah, and she had done a little bit of theater before, but never done any film, so this was her debut as well.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well, that's kudos to you as a director that she wasn't talking like this and emoting with her hands the entire time, except when she flew on the cart at the bottom, which was appropriate. Okay, well, let's open this to everybody else to chime in to ask each other about. It could be specifically about the films, which is perfect and great, but they can be overall questions as well. We can keep it nice and free. So please feel free, if anybody has a question to ask somebody else, please do so now.
Rikki, I can go first. I absolutely loved the film. Absolutely loved it. I can't believe that this was your first, because it just seems so professional, just the look of the film, and you know, it was so cinematic. Of course, the cinematography had a lot to do with, but even I'm sure as a director, you were making all kinds of choices to make that happen. But it was just sort of masterful use of the medium. So I'm really impressed. Just loved everything about it. So impactful.
Oh, thank you. I really appreciate that. I really enjoyed yours as well. It was the twists were very enjoyable. So
Thank you.
yeah.
Anybody else have a question? Sherry, yeah, I know we've exiled you, sort of. Any questions or comments about? It can be a comment, doesn't have to be a question.
Here we go. Well, I was going to ask Judy, were you part of Bird's Eye as far as casting? Because I know Joan Darling, and I was wondering, did you film in New York, or was she in DC for the filming of Bird's Eye?
She was here in Virginia. She was here in Virginia. So she was cast by Mike Kravinsky, and I was hair and makeup. So I got to do her hair and her makeup and fussed with her. And I did wardrobe too. I did everything on that set. So I got to take care of her. I got to love her.
Very easy thing to do. She is a love.
Yes, she is. She wrote me such a lovely note afterwards. She gave me lots of love. Yeah, she was such a wonderful person to work with. She was such a, yeah.
Do you know her background?
Yes, I do.
Okay. Yeah, she is the first Emmy Award winner, woman director.
Yes.
For Mary Tyler Moore.
Yes.
And yeah, but she's still a person, and that's what I love about her. You know.
Yes. She's yes. Indeed, she is.
Did you work with the bird at all, Judy, or just you sound like you were everywhere?
Yeah, well, you know, I don't know if I should tell you, but there was no bird.
What? You totally screwed up everything.
The bird was Zubo. The camera.
Yeah, so Judy, that was absolutely brilliant. I'm talking about the Bird's Eye, and you know, throughout the film, I kept thinking about it. How are they doing this? How are they doing it? And the camera and the angles and everything that was shot and how they shot it was just absolutely brilliant.
Okay, you know.
Yeah,
Zubo.
I know Zibo, and yeah, I sent him a message.
It was all Zibo in his camera.
Yeah. I sent him a message, and I told him that, hey, you know, this was just absolutely brilliant camera.
It was extreme. It was an extreme. I mean, that set was crazily. I mean, it was hard. It was hard, and it was extreme, but it was done. It was amazing. It was
I'm sure. I'm sure. And I absolutely love that one. And coming back to this one, Ricky, I have to say that, of course, everything about that film and, really connected to that. The quick question for you in terms of the grocery store, I think this was probably asked before. But, shooting in public like that, was that a challenge? And also, Owen, congratulations. It's good to see you. And so, in terms of just the shots that you had to take over there, cinematically in a public place, grocery store, did that present a challenge? Did you get permissions and all that?
Yeah, so we definitely had to, get permission from Dawson's before we could film. And what he did, which was really nice, was he opened the store hours before they were supposed to open on their least busy day. I think it was like a Sunday. And so we had a very early morning, got on set around 5 a.m. And we were able to get, like 80 to 90% of the grocery store shot before it even opened. And then, even once the store did open, it was pretty quiet and not very many people were in at all. So we were able to, do it safely with social distancing. But yeah, I mean, we definitely were on a time crunch. Towards the end, we were, trying to make sure we got all of our shots. But it worked out. It was just a really good team effort.
And that was done really well. And of course, I have to compliment the young girl, and she was so perfect for this particular role. And she did such a wonderful job of, carrying it through, and also just her expressions and everything. And I think you said this was the first time that she acted?
Yeah, first time for film. Yeah.
She did an absolutely amazing job, and I think you should definitely convey that to her.
Oh, thank you. I'll definitely pass it along.
Yeah, I was a little curious about that, Ricky, as far as, I don't know, one of my early film classes, or at least producer wise, you shoot a bar scene. If you notice, you've got to turn all the bottles around so you can't see the labels. There's a movie a few years ago called The Mist, where most of it was shot in a grocery store. And by golly, I think I freeze framed it here and there, and you really cannot read any of the labels. Were you cognizant of that issue, or were you just worried about, can we bring the camera here? Where's for Judy, is Kraft here yet? Were you concerned of that at all? Were you going to get like a ravioli, logo, or above her head or something?
Yeah, right. I mean, we definitely considered that. And I did some research into it. And I think that, at least from my research, the main issue comes where if you actually pick up the item and interact with it, or if you say some comment about it, like, don't buy that ravioli, it's terrible.
Or, wow, this is delicious.
Exactly.
Give us $500,000 as a sponsor.
Exactly. So, we were careful to not pick up any, items. We were careful to mostly film in, produce or meat, areas where there wasn't as much labeling. But, I would hope that, something like this, most businesses wouldn't have an issue about it.
Okay. Well, I'm going to start wrapping things up a little bit here. I'm going to put out a general question for everyone. It's more of a filmmaker-y, producer. Well, make of it what you will. And again, I'm just kind of making this up on the fly, because I have heard whispers of this with the shameless plug with the film market in terms of how production goes going forward. The films you all are going to be shooting and creating now, simply put, with the overall consequences, will you be shooting films that includes the period we are in where people are wearing masks, or comments? Something is as benign as stay safe. Now, that's just the catchy lingo because of what's going on. But will you include masks in productions going forward? Anybody can chime in.
No, the next film that I'm in has no mask.
Sorry, Judy, was that your speaker is catching?
Oh.
Or your mic? Yeah, your mic is catching speakers. Speakers catching mic.
Okay, I said no. The next film that I'm in has no masks.
Okay.
So I did one. I think there's feedback again on this one. So one story that I did that I acted for someone else, there is a reference to the pandemic. And then I'm making one myself. There is no reference to the pandemic in it.
Mm-hmm.
I'd like to leave it behind.
The film. Sorry.
Oops. Go ahead, Sherry.
I was just going to say the film that we shot about 3 weeks ago, we really talked about whether or not we were going to introduce masks, and the general consensus of opinion was we didn't want to date it. We wanted it to be current whenever and as often as it is shown. So since the story had nothing to do with the pandemic, we chose not to refer to the pandemic and not to use masks. Obviously, we were masked in between shooting, and production was all masked, but the actual filming was no masks.
And Fernando, I think the couple of sets that I've been on, what they're doing is as soon as, it's a mandate almost, temperature checks, masks, of course, when you're not on set. Everybody else has masks other than the actors, and only when they get on set. And obviously, they ask you if you've been vaccinated, and if you have to show that. I think that's the norm now.
Yeah, I mean, it's more of, I'd say, an artistic question in terms of what the final viewer is going to see in the frame. Are they going to see somebody walking behind them with a mask, or again, just some kind of flagrant comment that she just mentioned that's going to stamp it in terms of time? Because I've heard from more grumpy filmmakers that they don't want to wear masks or have that shown on the screen, because that automatically pins it down to 2019, 2020, 2021. And so it could be, who knows where we're going to be in just as little as 3 or 4 years, in 2025, for example. And you see a film where they're wearing masks, where that's going to make it feel much older than they're trying to portray.
Yeah. Fernando, I don't think it's just the date issue. For me, I feel like if you are showing the mask or any evidence of the pandemic, you can't not address it in your narrative. I feel like, yes, of course, there are things that are happening that are normal, in the world, where people are having babies or people are, falling in love, and so many things can happen which are the same as they would be with or without the pandemic. But if you show the mask, I feel like somehow you need to acknowledge it, maybe in the story. And if it doesn't fit, or if it takes you away from your main sort of line, your storyline, and it becomes a tangent, then I feel like it might actually take away from the story. So it's more than just the dating of it, but whether or not it adds to your story or perhaps even takes away from it. So I had to make that decision recently.
I think it can be both, to be honest with you.
Yes, it can. Yeah. So it's very individual. Yeah.
Yeah. Because if I watch the 10 Commandments, I know it wasn't done last October. That's more of an extreme. Koura and Spacey, you have to have an opinion. I know your mic's already off, so you're just nipping at the bit already. I can see it.
I mean, I'll say 2 things. One, the vaccine doesn't stop you from getting and transmitting it. It just stops you from getting it badly. So you can still carry it vaccinated. You just don't, you may be asymptomatic. You may just be carrying it and not get sick from it. So we do a lot of work with SAG projects and union regulations, and we've kind of been diving down the SAG hole of what going forward is going to look like for the film industry. And the regulations are very strict. And it's for safety, but like we shot a feature in September that was non-union, and it was very, very, very small. Everybody was isolated together. We were staying in a town where there was 200 COVID deaths the entire year. Like, it had no impact in that town. It was very not present, and we did it intentionally, and nobody, to be in that area, nobody got sick. I know for me, anything that's in one of our films, it has to be there for a reason. Like, I'm never going to make a character like just randomly like, oh, okay, this character is bisexual. And it's like, cool. Does that have anything to do with the story? No. Okay, why do we need to know if they're bisexual? Because in life, you don't need to know. Like, if it doesn't have anything to do with the story, then who cares? I feel like the masks, to put it into a story that has nothing to do with the pandemic, it either is going to, this is my opinion, it's either going to feel like a PSA of like, this is why masks are normal and you should just wear a mask and it's normal. And this is, it's here, but we're not really acknowledging it. And it can come off a little weird and maybe turn off audiences, or it could be like, I mean, I don't know about anyone else, but like there's hundreds of years of humanity and so many stories. And at least right now, everybody alive has a very firm reality on what living through the pandemic was like. And kind of like the way movies about 9/11 didn't come out for years. No one was running to make a 9/11 film in 2002, 2003, because...
Yeah, if anything, at that time, they were making efforts to erase the World Trade Center from movies where it was in it, like to not cause people to be
like
have a reaction.
Yeah,
to have a reaction. Like there was a big effort, like trying to erase that moment in history as it was happening from art or entertainment. So it's kind of like it's a really difficult space we're in now, where that's kind of what people are having to grapple with. Do we acknowledge it? Do we not acknowledge it? And why are we ignoring it? And why are we acknowledging it?
Or even not even ignoring it, but like the only people who aren't going to remember the pandemic are babies who aren't going to be watching movies for a while. So it doesn't...
I don't know. When I was a baby, I was watching movies all the time. I don't know about you.
But for us, like, also, it takes
Maybe
years.
That's what's wrong with me.
No, it takes years to develop like a feature film or a major project. So like most of the projects we're working on started before the pandemic. So now we're just trying to figure out how do we restructure it. And the story, it has nothing to do with it. So we're restructuring it for safety, but we're not restructuring the plot. And I feel like I've seen a couple of little things where like, oh, I'm making a short about what it's like to be an artist, locked at home during the pandemic and I'm looking for a collaborator or whatever. And I'm like, I understand people have their own like catharsis through art, and like there's a therapeutic value of telling your story cinematically. But I also think that there's other parts of life that can be celebrated, or stories that can be told that, if the pandemic is mentioned, where, kind of like the way Uber and Lyft and crowdfunding came out of the economic crash years ago. And what grew out of that was people taking things into their own hands and crowdsourcing and bringing it to the people. And that's what developed from that. If you're going to tell a story about that time period, it's kind of more interesting to focus on that stuff than to be like, this is how there was like no food on the shelves and everybody was broke and the housing market crashed. And it was very like, I don't know. It just, for me, that's not a story I would be drawn to wanting to tell personally. But if there was something where some part of the story connected to the pandemic, I feel like that would fit. Also, it's going to be a really easy way for anybody doing a 48-hour film project to do a period piece by just throwing masks on everybody, and all of a sudden it's 2020. But
Yes.
we were joking about that.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. I feel like the point of art is it's to make people think, and it's to make people, you know, Spacey once said that art is meant to be a mirror held up in front of people to make them look at themselves. But I also think it serves a purpose of lifting people up. And I don't know if I guess I haven't really figured out how to tell a pandemic story in a way that isn't just like, I don't want to think about that anymore. I just want to go to a concert or go to Disney World or not wear a mask. Like it, yeah, I don't know. That's my long answer.
Good luck with that.
No, but that's how I feel too. Because like I'm trying to tell a story that's you know, just has nothing to do with the pandemic, and if I force that in, I do like why even do that? Frankly, I don't even. Why is it a responsibility? Do we are we, you know, is it something that we must include? I'm not understanding why it should even be. It's basically a creative decision, right? If it adds to your story, you put it in there. Otherwise, don't.
And if studios want to influence the way, like, this is going to sound so conspiratorial. There's like TV shows that you'll watch where it's very obvious that they're going beyond just trying to entertain you, and they're really determined to make you see something a certain way. Like I was watching a TV show once, and a character had a monologue, I want to say for 2 or 3 minutes, like a long section of the episode, where she was just talking about how gender inequality paychecks in employment based in STEM is worse for women of color, not just women in general. But like she literally was standing there with a clipboard talking at her friends for like minutes. And I'm like, this is very important, but I feel like I'm getting preached at right now. I'm not like, it's
a hard line to walk in terms of like, the point of drama isn't really too.
Oh yeah, it was like a teen drama.
Yeah,
it wasn't even like a.
I'm just saying drama as a construct, something that we are drawn to. That we watch these films because there's a dramatic question. There's something that we are drawn to. But if the dramatic question is, how do we get you to believe this point of view? That's not drama. That's not the point of drama. The point of drama is to entertain. And if we can learn something and see something about ourselves in something that we're watching, all the better for it. But if we don't, and we don't connect to it because they're so busy trying to educate us and change the way we feel about something, if that's all we get is the effort to change us, then we're not going to change. We're going to react to the effort to change us.
If we know the pill is in the cheese, we're going to be able to taste it, even no matter how much cheese you put on the outside.
I'm a smart puppy.
But wait, now, Fernando, I have a question in reverse. Are they asking that because studios are now looking for pandemic-based films, or are they asking that because they're curious what we plan on doing so that they can judge the market in the future?
That really stems from a question more from your favorite person, Mark, on the distribution side, as far as he didn't personally want to see films where people are running around, whether they're, this wasn't necessarily a direct comment, if memory serves. It would be more in terms of just like how we're going to shoot stadium shots or a busy New York street moment. Are we going to have people wearing masks as they walk by? As you've stated your opinion, he can be a little more grumpy about it. And he doesn't want to see that. He doesn't want it to be dated. As mentioned already, this is definitely 2020 minimum 2021. And I don't want to see that. I just want to. It's going to break the number one rule in filmmaking, which is you're going to disengage your audience. They're not going to be thinking about the storyline, the character, and getting emotionally involved, attached, and owning and bringing the films into themselves. They're going to be absolutely separated from all of that, going, oh, all right, well, this is X, Y, and Z because of wearing the mask. So the business side, they don't even know what they're doing.
Fernando, on a number of seminars and talks. I'm on the board of Women in Film and Video DC, and a lot of our discussions are about what's the future looking like. And a lot of the people I've heard on the panels feel that there's going to be much smaller films, smaller in the sense that smaller casts. There won't be these grandiose fight scenes. There won't be these stadium until we're in a healthier atmosphere where we don't have to worry about the mask at all. Are you hearing the same thing? It sounds like people are still talking about these big scenes and blockbusters.
Well, the irony in your statement is, what is the #1 film out there right now? King Kong Godzilla.
Which has animation, and when was that completed? Was it filmed during the pandemic?
If I had to answer that black and white, I'd say probably pre, but it.
Looking.
Okay, well, thank you, Spacey. Because I mean, as I put that statement out there, I didn't necessarily want to defend it, but it does contradict slightly in terms of it. Obviously, it's a bigger production, pun intended.
Right.
But they are the actual scenes with people were smaller, but it didn't lack action because it wasn't all just monsters. There were paramilitary, security people running around doing their thing, and there's plenty of interaction. And obviously, that would affect our viewing of it if they were wearing masks. Because if we watch that in 10 or 20 years, it's going to affect. It's not going to be what it is right now, where it's a little more universal. No pun intended.
Production wrapped in April 2019, so they had already filmed it and they were just getting it through post.
Yeah, and probably deciding when to put it out there to the world.
Yeah,
so
got finished a couple.
Okay, Rikki, I'm just going to open up one last window because we definitely run over. One benefit of doing this virtually is if we were doing this at the Angelica, I literally just sanction off about 10, maybe 15 minutes in the theater for Q&A. Then we'll branch off into the lounge and over an hour. So if you have any parting comments, I will wrap it up with a few words. No, not forcing you, but if you have an opinion, please let it fly.
Yeah. Oh, so yeah, on this issue, I mean, I think that a lot of great comments have been said already. I know personally that I wouldn't be inclined to have masks in a shot unless it was important to the narrative. Because I think, there's a historian that I read once who said that, doing contemporary history is incredibly difficult. You have to give it space. So, I mean, I can definitely see in 10, 20 years, period pieces being made about now, but I think at this point we aren't ready for it.
Well put. Well put. Okay. Well, thank you. Thank you so much, everyone, for making some time this evening to share your thoughts, comments, your time and space. Koura, sharing your spacey with us. Hey, that's his nickname. Sorry. Definitely learned some stuff today, and wonderful, wonderful films across the board. And it's a special thing for me personally because it is part of Nova's mission. We are bringing local films into a much bigger world because we are an international film festival with budgets in the hundreds and thousands. I mentioned this earlier, hundreds and $1,000s to multi-million-dollar films, which you'll be seeing throughout the week. Spacey, I will leave you with one quote, I believe from Kevin Smith, in talking about actors, and I'll butcher this slightly, but you'll get the point, in that actors pretend to be someone or something else in order to reveal the truth. And I think that can be carried over into filmmaking overall. Okay, I'm going to leave you guys to think about that as you drift off into slumber tonight. All right. Thank you again so much.
Thank you.
A lot of great films for the rest of the week. I hope to see you at other
Thank you.
You guys. Nice
panels.
seeing you.
Nice
Okay.
meeting everybody.
Have a great evening, everyone. Thank you.
Good
Thank you
night,
so much.
everyone.
Take care.
Bye.
Bye. Bye, Sangeeta.
Bye. Good to see you, Judy.
Same here. Shri.
See ya. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Well, hopefully we'll see each other soon. God knows when.
By the
but
way, you
we
guys
will.
are more than welcome.
For what? For what, son?
I just want to say that this is like in the real world. This is a building that's open 24/7 during the festival.
You can
So
just come
you
here
guys
and
have
hang out
passes.
anytime.
You can just come here and hang out anytime you want.
Okay.
We'll be in this present mode for the, to record and to be all pretend to be professional. And I'm talking to
So
actors
why
now.
are we not seeing your face? How come we just saw this?
Where did you go? Yeah.
My camera's not working right. It's supposed to be doing other things.
Oh, that's just
Fernando, what the heck is going on?
See, I can
my
act
mic
too.
was not working. Now your camera's not working.
The camera's not working.
I'm sorry, Judy. You're not coming in clear. I
He's
can't.
sitting there in his PJs. He's in his PJs. That's why he doesn't want to show himself. They're back.
Look at these guys, they're back.
Well, we were going to the tables, but then we came back and you guys were still in the present mode. So
Yeah, well, I was mentioning you two already know, but I was mentioning to the rest of them that this is like the real world. This is a building that's open 24/7. You could just sort of lurk in on your own and just sort of again, like AFM. There, I found my little secret spaces in Santa Monica where I just made it my own little office. But at the same time, you want to have your own little meetings network. That's what it's designed to do as well. Where we are now doing this present panel mode, obviously we're going to take it with a different tone, but yeah, the entire area of Land of Fame, air quotes, is very much like that. You can go into the buildings pretty much any time when there's something going on. With the theaters, there's really, unless something's screening, you can't get in there because there's nothing going on. But basically between this building and the Capitol Film Market building, which acts very much the same, you guys, if you have access to it, you can, like Shri, you thank you so much. You bought a VIP pass. You can walk in there anytime and just say, what's say, or just make your own
Fernando,
space.
one other thing that I wanted to ask you, when you log in, there's films that are already there that you can watch, which are top films.
that's on the Filmocracy platform, and they're not necessarily festival films.
That's true. Yeah.
You're basically
but they're also if they're on the platform, then obviously have they shown somewhere? Because I watched some of them and they're absolutely amazing films.
Yeah, I believe I'll double check, but I believe you have access to the company Filmocracy themselves. They are the ones producing the platform, the virtual platform.
Yeah, and there's dozens of them that you can just watch, and
Oh yeah, these guys, this wasn't a haphazard decision, even though Spacey Koura, there have been some issues. These are the guys behind the Capitol Film Market. They handle work with Cannes, so they handle all the top guys.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
So did you know about Filmocracy before pandemic and all of that stuff, or is this something that got created because of pandemic and all?
I can't speak to the actual history. I just know I went to work in doing my research. I found out who the top guns were, who handled all the film festivals and the top film festivals and the top film markets virtually. And these guys were they were top 3, top 4. And the numbers are right as far as, I won't get into it too much. I'll do it because I don't, it's being recorded and stuff. But as far as when it turns into commerce and revenue, they, for where Novo is, they had the best the best spreadsheets for us. Where I can say that there are other ones, like who's, I think Vimeo is one of them. Oh gosh, it's been so long. I can't even remember the names of the other ones now. I had them memorized in my brain. But some of them are asking for like, $10,000 or $12,000 up front. And, when this, just started, I was already not in a position to be throwing that kind of money around. But having said that, I've said it many times already that financially, I'm sorry that people are suffering and, people are dying, but the whole COVID thing has pushed Nova on the better side of growth, easily.
No, this is awesome. This is awesome. It's a great platform.
Yeah. again, where it would cost maybe 20,000 plus to rent out a theater for a week for, 1-2 screenings a day, if that. Like right now, this week, we have multiple screenings for a fraction of that. So as we go forward, I'll put my finger to the wind. All of 2021 is going to be virtual. 2022, I can say that at minimum, the award ceremonies will be fully live. We'll see how screenings go. We have to see where the world is. By 2022, there will be some kind of hybrid. Virtual is here to stay. It's not. It's permanently baked in the pie. It's not going anywhere. So the logistics between Fernando, getting people, or myself managing panels virtually, and then there's a live panel. That's just going to be, Q&A. That's going to be a little sick and crazy.
Why not do a live stream of the panel where people who are live streaming have access to type in questions and people in the audience have a chance?
Then we're going to have, no, trust me, that's on the radar, but we have to determine the technology behind that, because now we have to have a monitor who's on the tech side who can handle that on the fly. It's not just me or Matt jumping in to take a couple of questions in an established venue. Right. Now we have somebody who knows about IT, from A to Z. I didn't even mean to use acronyms there, but you know what I mean? Someone who's going to be able to knows about the uplink, or if something, falls short, or we had the issue earlier today with just someone on the, with Sherry. The entire freaking panel was really an annoying echo chamber because her speaker was, her microphone was catching all the speaker, everything coming out of her speaker. So everybody talking, not just me, but anyone speaking outside of myself would hear their own voice within, 2 or 3 beats. Oh. And that was the entire panel. That was incredibly annoying. And even beyond annoying, it was just practically, it was difficult to communicate. So again, that's just a minor nuance, but how that would work in terms of
panelists or virtual audience. Like if the panelists are at the festival, are you saying you would incorporate, because Sundance does it where they just live stream to YouTube from the live panel, and then you can watch on YouTube and type your questions, and you can be in the audience and ask your questions, but the panelists are all together.
Yeah, that doesn't intimidate me in the slightest. I think it's a concern, don't get me wrong, to be addressed, but sure. To me, it's pure technology. If something drops, a microphone doesn't connect to the internet. So many little things that we could take for granted if it was a live session. If one microphone drops, and so that means that people can't hear, the 500 to 500,000 people.
Like now.
Sorry.
Then what do we do? And that starts affecting Nova's bottom line. Not bragging too much, but just a sense of excellence and professionalism and efficiency. Everything is a given that you expect to be a given. So
Fernando,
in my mind, it's technology. Yes, ma'am.
The best thing about attending festivals is hanging out with other filmmakers.
Yep, absolutely.
How are we going to fill that gap? And it doesn't happen with one session. It works when you kind of run into the same people over and over, and then you get familiar.
Totally
it takes that whole week to really get to know each other, so it's
that's how we met.
Yep.
You guys came up to us in the lobby in Philadelphia
at
Women's Festival.
Right. I remember that day. I'll never forget that day. Yeah.
Same.
Yeah. And Sangeeta, it's a moving target. It's a moving target.
I know.
So it may be just inching back where minorly or major, whatever, addressing it would be, at least after the award ceremony, there would be absolutely that face-to-face physical exchange. You get to meet people. It's a great environment. Everybody's there about film, and people are happy they won an award, or, they're just glad to be in the audience. Oh my gosh, trust me, Fernando is plotting and planning how to make the best of it. So where, we save money because we're not, dropping an extra $5,000 here, maybe I'll pay a celebrity to be there. From my Comic-Con experience, there's an understanding. If you're going to be there in a con, you'd be sitting behind a desk for 10 hours for 2 days for $5,000, $10,000, whatever. There's an understanding you're going to be signing autographs and you have to be personable. Okay, you won't necessarily have to be sitting behind a table, but if somebody asks you for an autograph at the, while they're getting their plate of Chula goodies,
or a selfie,
yeah, you accommodate it. It's not like this is not your air quotes free time.
You're
You're not
working.
walking. Yeah, you're not at, yes, exactly. You're not on 3rd Street Promenade and someone prods you for a quick selfie. You know, it's not your time. At the same time, there's a combination. Again, Fernando's planning. I'd like to get people who there's a combination. I'd like them to be able to be within the world of getting a Stanley Award. You know, they've got some epicness behind them. So it's like, yeah, I'm working, but hey, I got an award. You know, I'm going to be forever attached to the name Stan Lee for excellence, and that just raises all ships. So, yeah, all that, as the kids would say. But yeah, I totally agree. It's just to Koura's point or question. My first gut challenge is the technology. Just making sure that just runs well with everything else going on. In dealing with stuff yesterday, Koura, I don't want that to be affiliated with the name Nova.
You got to get someone full-time tech support, man.
I mean, that's what I was going to say. Like, because that going to the festival, it's not just that awards night. It's all week long. You're running into people on the street wearing credentials. You have time to really build relationships.
Well, let me throw this at you, because Dell over at AOF Fest in Vegas, what he was going to do last year before he decided to go nuts. By the way, they're screening 750 films.
Whoa. Yeah, that's
wait. When did he go nuts?
I have to find out his date of birth. So basically, what he was one plan. Was that?
I think Judy said something.
I think she's going to drop out. And
if you drop out, please do. We're just after paneling right now.
So do I. So you guys have a wonderful time, and I'll catch up later. Good seeing you all.
Okay. Take care, guys. Thank you so much.
Take care. Good night.
Bye, Judy.
We'll talk soon after Fest.